Hello, hey everyone, welcome. So, in this video, we are going to talk about deployments in Salesforce. And throughout this video series, we are mainly going to focus on Salesforce deployments, how we can work on Salesforce deployments from one Salesforce environment to another Salesforce environment till production. And we are also going to see how we can deploy the metadata from one Salesforce environment to another Salesforce environment which are not related with each other. So let's quickly see what we have for today's. So we are going to discuss what is deployment and what are the different types of deployments available in Salesforce. When we say that deployment, we are going to talk about the difference between the implementation and the deployment part. So when we talk about Salesforce implementation, this is the entire process from starting this is an entire process to build a product from the starting of the very beginning, creating your Salesforce environment, installing some managed or unmanaged application, creating some fields, process builder, APIS classes, flow builders, integrating with some different systems. So the complete entire cycle, the entire life cycle that we do as a developer with the architect, project manager, team lead, and some other uh, people which are part of the team like testers and all. That complete process is known as Salesforce implementation. Basically, where we are implementing the complete product, the idea, whatever the idea is, business has came up. Suppose that the business is coming and saying that they wanted to sell some product online and they wanted to use Salesforce platform to sell the product. So to build that idea, whatever we are doing, whatever the components we are building, we are installing, we are creating, we are developing, all these comes under the Salesforce implementation part. But when we talk about Salesforce deployment, this is a single specific activity which we are taking, or which we can say that which we are using to migrate the complete metadata which we have implemented during the Salesforce implementation phase into the different Salesforce environment, which might be another Salesforce sandbox, which is the higher sandbox, typically the SAT, UAT, SIT, or integration environment, and from those higher environment to the production environment, from where we can make our product live and our customer can use our product. If we have some end customers, they can use our product. If we don't have end customers and we have some partners, we have some sales representatives, we have some service representatives, they can use our products, and that activity is known as Salesforce deployment. In other words, we can also say that Salesforce deployment is the activity which takes all the metadata from one environment to another environment. That might be from sandbox to production or production to sandbox, and which takes less time than the Salesforce implementation parts in terms of hours, weeks, or days. Now let's talk about what are the different types of deployments. So there are mainly two types of deployment. One is inbound deployment, one is outbound deployment. So inbound deployment is the deployment where metadata is coming inside a Salesforce environment from a different Salesforce environment which is related. For example, let me take you an example over here. So we have got two different org. One is A and another one is B. So for inbound, if I talk about inbound, whatever the metadata I'm sending from B to A, which will consider as inbound for inbound deployment for org A. And the outbound deployment is the deployment where we are sending the metadata from one environment to another environment. So here, if we talk about the org, then this particular deployment is considered as outbound deployment for org B and inbound deployment for org A. Now, if we talk about sending the metadata from environment A to environment B, then for B, it is going to be inbound environment and not environment, inbound deployment, and for org A, it is going to be the outbound deployment because org A is sending data out, org B is receiving data in. So basically, whatever the concept is very simple, in and out. if you are receiving inbound, if you are sending outbound. So that's it for this video. And in the coming videos, we are going to talk about types of environments. Then we are going to talk about what are the different types of sandboxes. So I will see you into the next video. Thank you.